Hi everyone, in today's video we will discuss about UML Dynamic Modeling. Okay, so in our last video we have discussed everything about UML, which is Unified Modeling Language, and in this video, as I have said, we will be focusing on these various UML diagrams. Okay, as you can see here, these following diagrams represents the dynamic behavior of the system. Okay, so now we have various diagrams available under Unified Modeling Language, and those diagrams like interaction diagrams, activity diagrams, sequence diagrams, calibration diagrams, state transition diagrams. Okay, so we can use these various types of diagrams to analyze and design the system, to understand the behavior of the system, what features we need to include in the system, and how the system will going to interact with the user, and how user will going to interact with the system. So all these things we can come to know with the help of these various diagrams, which comes under Unified Modeling Language. Okay, since the title, as you can see here, UML Dynamic Modeling. Okay, so with the help of these diagrams we can determine the dynamic behavior of the system. Okay, so now here you can see we have following diagrams available under UML, and these diagrams, as I have said, are used to represent the dynamic behavior of the system, and it contains the diagrams like UML interaction diagrams. Okay, and then we have activity diagrams. Under UML interaction diagrams we have various other diagrams such as sequence diagrams, collaboration diagrams, and state chart diagram. Okay, so we will see one by one each and every of these diagrams. Okay, so in this video we'll discuss about sequence diagram. So we will take an example, and with the help of that example we'll try to understand how these sequence diagrams will help the development team to analyze and design the system. Now let us discuss one of the type of interaction diagrams, and that is UML sequence diagrams. Okay, this sequence diagrams helps the development team to analyze the sequence of activities performed on the system by the user. Okay, so now as you can see here, the first point says sequence diagrams illustrates interaction between various objects. Okay, so with the help of this sequence diagrams, analyst or the development team can come to know the various interaction between the user and the system. We can easily illustrate or we can demonstrate those various interactions between the user and the system easily with the help of sequence diagrams. Okay, that is what the between various objects. Okay, how the system will be interacting with other objects, all those things we can easily depict or demonstrate with the help of sequence diagrams. So it focuses on message sequences, that is how messages sent and received between various objects. Okay, this sequence diagram mainly focuses on sending and receiving messages. Okay, how the user will be interacting with the system in terms of sending messages and receiving output from the system. Next is sequence diagrams have two axes, vertical and horizontal. Okay, so in the sequence diagrams, while drawing the sequence diagrams, we will be drawing the sequence diagrams by considering two axes, and those axes are vertical axis and horizontal axis, and you guys will come to know properly when we draw a sequence diagram for any example. Okay, yes, vertical axis shows time. Okay, where the vertical axis is used to demonstrate the time, and the horizontal axis used to demonstrate the set of objects. Okay, now the last point is it describes various scenarios in complete detail. Okay, so these sequence diagrams allows the development team to demonstrate various activities and scenarios in complete detail. The sequence diagram is a very useful tool during analyzing and designing the system. With the sequence diagram we will clearly come to know what information system will going to take from the user and what information system will return to the user. Okay, so all this behavior we can easily understand with the help of sequence diagrams. Okay, so now we will try to understand what is a sequence diagram and how it's going to help us in system development and designing with the help of an example. We have discussed everything about the sequence diagram, the definition, and how sequence diagrams are used at the time of analysis and design process. Okay, so here I have taken an example, and the example is sequence diagram for invalid pin use case. Now we need to analyze the behavior of the ATM system whenever user entered wrong pin while withdrawing the money. Okay, so while withdrawing the money, whenever user enters an invalid pin, then in that case what messages will be interchanged between the user and the system. So in that case, when user enters the invalid pin, how system will going to behave with the user, all these things we are going to analyze, and we will depict all those behavior of the system in terms of this sequence diagram, and this sequence diagram will help us to properly understand the behavior of the system. Okay, so here you can see in this problem three objects are involved. Okay, first is the client or the customer who will be withdrawing the money, and the second object is ATM machine, and the third object is bank client, okay, or bank server. Whenever user or the customer visit the ATM system, first operation what the user will be going to perform is user will insert the ATM card into the machine. Okay, so that activity will be represented here. Okay, so from client to ATM machine. Okay, so user will be taking the card and inserting that ATM card inside the ATM machine. Okay, next, once the ATM card is being inserted inside the ATM machine will going to read that card, and then it will respond to the client or the customer by giving a message as request pin. Okay, then it will ask the user to enter the password. Next, then the user or the client will enter the pin. Okay, so this is the flow of interaction between the client and the machine. Then the client will enter the pin in the ATM machine. Okay, once ATM machine receives the pin, then it will verify pin number. Okay, now a request will be sent in the form of a message from ATM machine to the bank server or the bank client. Okay, this is what we are representing here, from ATM system or machine to bank client. Okay, verify pin number, then bank client or the server, bank server will verify the pin. Okay, if the user has entered wrong password, then after verifying that pin by the bank server will return a message to the ATM machine saying that incorrect pin number. Okay, now incorrect pin number message will be sent from the ATM machine to the client. Okay, where client will see that message as incorrect pin number message. Okay, so here with this sequence diagram we are analyzing the flow of messages between the various objects. Okay, that's what we had discussed whenever we were discussing regarding sequence diagrams. Okay, next, once the user receives this incorrect pin number message, then another message gets started displaying to the client as eject ATM card. Okay, when the machine started displaying you a messages you have entered the wrong password, then it will start ejecting the card. Okay, once the ATM machine eject the ATM card, then request to take the card will be start on displaying on the screen. Okay, and that message also will be sent from the ATM machine to the client, request to take the card, and then take the card message and then display main screen. Okay, so once you take the card from the ATM machine, then it will start displaying you main screen. Okay, so these are the various messages which will get displayed to the client from the ATM machine and the bank client. Okay, so don't you think this sequence diagrams helps the development team to understand the flow of messages between the various objects? Okay, so with this sequence diagrams the development team can easily understand the behavior of various objects taken care at the time of performing any activity with the system. Okay, so this is how the sequence diagrams are very useful at the time of analyzing. Okay, with the help of these sequence diagrams we will be going to analyze the sequences of activities performed between the user or the client and the ATM machine in terms of messages. Okay, so that is what the explanation for this sequence diagram. I'm sure you guys now understood what is sequence diagram and how you need to draw the sequence diagrams and how useful sequence diagrams are at the time of analyzing and designing. Okay, and that's all for this video guys, and thanks for watching.